ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Monday, October 21st. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We got a lot to get into. You thought we were going to have a quiet weekend, didn't you? Not the case. We had a lot of action in the Sun Belt to go over. Where does Marshall stand after all the weekend action? And, of course, we even had a coaching change happen over the weekend. So a lot to get into. We'll get the text line going in a moment, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So right off the bat, I don't know how many of you were paying attention to many of the Sun Belt matchups that were going on this weekend. And, of course, Southern Miss was one of the games that I was kind of keeping an eye on. Again, looking for a football game, looking for something to do. And so the Golden Eagles are 1-6 right now. And Will Hall lost the game against Arkansas State 44-28. So Will Hall, he's now 14-30 over 4 seasons. That's not very good. And so he was let go. He's going to be owed almost $900,000. I think the exact number I saw was close to $860,000. So nearly $900,000 on his contract he is owed. And the Golden Eagles are 1-6 after the season. And so Southern Miss fired him, let him go. That was just enough for them to swallow. He went 7-6 in his second season at Southern Miss, won in the Lending Tree Bowl, but he's gone 4-15 since. So a change needed to happen, according to the administration. I mean, you got the usual niceties. We are grateful to Will and his family for their dedication to Southern Miss over the past 4 years. That was a statement from Athletic Director Jeremy McClain. And he said Will poured his heart and soul into this program and is shaping these young men. Unfortunately, the results on the field didn't align with our shared goals and expectations. And so that was the statement that was released by Athletic Director Jeremy McClain. And Reed Stringer, who's the assistant head coach, is going to take over as interim head coach. And the Golden Eagles, they play at James Madison next week, so it doesn't get any easier. I mean, people liked Hall, but he just couldn't get it done where people care the most, and that's the win-loss record. I mean, he was good at other places. He was solid at West Alabama. He was good at West Georgia. And I think this is an important job in college football in the Sun Belt. And as I always felt in Conference USA, and I believe this to be true, when Southern Miss is good, your conference is better. Absolutely. When Southern Miss is a contender and Southern Miss is good, I think the league is better. I felt that way with Conference USA, and I truly believe that now with the Sun Belt. If Southern Miss is playing exceptional football, then it's better for everybody, because I think that's one of those programs which can generate a lot of a national audience, a lot of attention. I think people will pay attention to a really good Southern Miss program. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm romanticizing when they were really good. I don't know. But I like Southern Miss as a program. And, I kind of like Will Hall as well. He always reminded me of, I'd sit in on the Zoom calls and sit in and listen in to some of the coaches. And I would tell people, Will Hall reminds me of Billy Seals, Huntington High's head football coach. Looks like him, talks like him, sounds like him. I'm always sitting there thinking, is that Billy Seals on the Zoom call? Does someone replace Will Hall with Billy Seals? And I liked Will Hall, but now here's a coach, middle of the season. Thank you, but that's enough. We're going to make a change. So Southern Miss is signaling that we're going to put the assistant coach in. We're going to finish out the season, but we're going to put the search in now. We're going to try to find the next head coach, the next leader of Southern Miss football. And that's with Southern Miss right now being at 1-6. And so I know that's going to lead to a lot of people saying, well, if Southern Miss can do it, why can't other schools do it? Why do you have to wait now? It's already been done. You don't have to be first anymore. And I'm not going to necessarily name names, but few weeks ago, there were a lot of you that were ready to run Coach Huff out of town. I've got the text log to prove it on our postgame show. There were a lot of you just ready to run him out of town, like, don't come back. And then he gets a really good win against Georgia State, and all of a sudden you see the program flip, turn around, and you're feeling better about Marshall football. Some weeks is hot, some weeks is cold. Now, with Georgia Southern winning against James Madison, we'll see how that turns out towards the end, because right now we were hoping that maybe James Madison would get a win over Southern, and it didn't happen. So the jury's out as far as how the season is going to finish. But one week you wanted him out of town, the next week, that's our coach. On the other hand, if you're looking for a reason to get rid of a coach and you're, say, Ren Baker, and you're the athletic director of West Virginia University, right now, you're sitting there thinking, do I pull the trigger? The fans would love me. Because right now, nobody's happy with Neil Brown and the job that's being done at West Virginia University. Nobody's happy. His post-game comments, pre-game comments, everything under a microscope these days now. He is getting overanalyzed, and the Mountaineers are just disappointing in the Big 12. They are not contenders. They are not favored in too many games that I know of. It's probably week to week to see where they're at. They are just playing a disappointing brand of football right now. And so here we go. Coaches are starting to be let go. Do you see West Virginia pull the trigger early on Neil Brown? That would make the fans happy right now. Again, the fans are hot on him right now. Do not want him to be the head coach. I don't know if I like mid-season firings. I don't know if I like that, only because it leaves the program in just a little bit of chaos, and I hate to give up on those kids. Now, unfortunately, we know the season is pretty much over for Southern Miss, just about. I mean, they're 1-6. They'd have to have a tremendous bounce back to become bowl eligible, and I just don't see it happening right now. The Mountaineers, maybe there's something there that can maybe turn that season around just enough to make everybody happy or happy enough. And for the Thundering Herd, things are okay right now. Not exactly where you want to be, but things are okay right now with where Marshall's at. And so I just don't know if I like the mid-season firing of a coach. I don't like that at all. What does it accomplish other than signaling, okay, we're open for business here? We got a lot to get into. We're going to get your text coming up, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll run down what happened in the Sun Belt. We've got Player of the Week awards to tell you about. We've got a time set for ULM. We got a lot to get into. And, of course, we've got your text, and we'll run down what happened this weekend as well in the league. Busy night in the National Football League. The Ravens and the Bucks, 8:15 tonight kick right here on ESPN, 94.1 and AM 930. Chargers and Cardinals going to come up tonight. We'll have that game on our sister station, Cat Sports, in 93.3 and 1340. It was a fun one if you're a Steelers fan last night. Steelers got the win over the Jets, 37-15. And, of course, a game that you heard right here yesterday on ESPN, 94.1 and AM 930, along with Cat Sports in 93.3. And 1340. You heard the Bengals deliver a statement in Cleveland, riding to a 100-yard kickoff return and a pair of Joe Burrow touchdowns. It was a hard-fought 21-14 win over the Cleveland Browns. It's Monday. You know what time it is. It's time for your Bengals Rewind. It all started with a bang for Cincinnati. On the very first play of the game, Charlie Jones took the opening kickoff 100 yards to the house, igniting the Bengals sideline and giving them a 7-0 lead just seconds in.
Charlie Jones catches right at the goal line and runs it out. Far side numerals for the 20, 25, 30. Nice. Only the kicker can tackle him. He failed to do it. Charlie Jones down the sideline. 20, 10, 5. Dive for the pylon. Touchdown!
About it.
Or did he step out first? No, it's a touchdown. Charlie Jones, who had a punt return touchdown as a rookie last year against Baltimore, takes it 100 yards for a game-opening score.
The Browns would respond in the second quarter. After grinding out a long drive, Nick Chubb punched it in from the 1-yard line, cutting the Bengals' lead.
Brown's going to go with the eye again. Swain, the tight end, is the up back. Nick Chubb dots the eye. Pitch left. Nick Chubb running left. Nick Chubb is in!
missed extra point left Cleveland trailing 7-6 at the half. The third quarter shifted dramatically when Deshaun Watson went down with injury.
He went to plant to go forward, and you could see it. Achilles. The pop right there. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who may be the future of this organization at quarterback, is certainly going to be the present now. Jameis Winston, the emergency third, would be able to come in if DTR can go. But look, you hate to see this for Deshaun Watson. 15-17 in this one. And you know what this is. You know what this is, and the road back from this will be immense for him. And this crowd, I think, is stunned.
Joe Burrow capitalized on the shift, getting into a rhythm. Facing third and goal, Burrow found Jamar Chase on a sharp 14-yard strike to push the Bengals lead to 14-6.
2nd down and 5 at the 18-yard line of Cleveland. Burrow back to throw. Passes toward the pylon. Caught! Jamar Chase! Touchdown! Bengals! Jamar Chase with his 6th touchdown catch this season.
Burrow wasn't done. Just minutes later, he went back to work, connecting with T. Higgins on a 17-yard touchdown that put Cincinnati up 21-6.
Burrow catches the shotgun snap, throws, caught by Higgins, running to the 10, 5, touchdown! Bengals! T. Higgins high-stepping it into the end zone, and now he tosses the ball high into the air as he looks into the dog pound after that touchdown grab.
Cleveland, however, refused to go quietly. Backup quarterback Jameis Winston came in for an injured Deshaun Watson, leading the Browns on a late drive that ended with a 5-yard touchdown pass to David Njoku. With the score now 21-14 and just over a minute to play, the Browns were back in it.
Jameis now 3rd and goal. Jameis to throw, directing traffic, throwing back of the end zone. Watch Chifu goes up, brings it down. Is he in? Put him up. Touchdown. David Njoku, back of the end zone. What a catch. And the Browns are on the board.
But Cincinnati's defense held strong when it mattered most. They forced a turnover on downs to ice the game, and the Bengals walked away with a crucial AFC North victory.
Burrow takes the snap, he takes a knee, and the two teams begin heading toward the middle of the field. The Cincinnati Bengals have won 2 in a row and 3 out of their last 4. They beat the Cleveland Browns here in Cleveland by the final score of 21-14.
After the game, Joe Burrow emphasized the importance of the team's resilience in these critical moments.
We found ways to win. Everybody's talking about how good our offense was for the first 4 weeks, whatever it was, and we were 1-3. That's obviously not ideal. I'd rather be everyone talking about how we didn't execute on offense and win 2 games in a row than the other way around.
Head coach Zach Taylor praised his team's execution on both sides of the ball.
Obviously, Charlie and the kickoff return team set the tone right from the get-go, which was great to be able to get that lead. And the defense really fought them off, until that last drive. Obviously, they got those points, but gave us a chance to get it sorted out on offense a little bit.
The Bengals improved to 3-4, clawing their way back into the playoff picture with a 21-14 win in Cleveland. Next Sunday, it's a showdown with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm Paul Swann with your Bengals Rewind.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavallette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
CF Rushline Jewelers. Visit CF Rushline Jewelers at 947 3rd Avenue in Huntington, across from Pullman Square, Huntington's Peddlers Mall, located in the heart of historic Central City District on 814th Street West at Westland Plaza Shopping Center, Greater Huntington Parks and Recreation District. Explore the parks, trails, and facilities. Learn more at ghprd.org.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Thanks for tuning in to today's edition of The Drive. It's Monday, October 21st. Kind of weird we didn't have a Marshall game on Saturday, but we did have a lot go on. We'll get into that here in a moment. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. Let's go to the text line first. Texter says, Paul, I would not jump up and down on the table mad if Coach Huff is back next year, but I would not be disappointed if he was gone either. It's probably time for a change. I appreciate that text. Also from the text line, texter says, Paul, Huff still needs to go. Floating around 6-6 isn't good enough. The loss to Georgia State is unacceptable. He needs to be gone by season's end. Also from the text line, texter says, hey, WVU, we will take our coach back now, says Troy fan. I don't know about all that. I don't know all about that. I mean, would you take him back? I like Neil Brown, but would you take him back? I don't know. I don't think that would work. Keep those texts coming, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So with Will Hall getting fired, the record of 14-30 over 4 seasons, it was a good day and a bad day for a lot in the Sun Belt. Louisiana became the first Sun Belt team to clinch bowl eligibility. They're 6-1. They're 3-0 in league play, so they're going to be one of those teams right up there. ULM, they're tied with Louisiana, 3-0 in conference play. They've got a 5-1 record, and that's their best start since 1987. It's a good year for me, and that's a bad year for me. I mean, seriously, 1987, it's a good year and a bad year. I'll give you a couple minutes. You know why it's a good year and a bad year? If you're a Herd fan, do you know why it's a good year and a bad year? Think about it. Give me a second on that. I'll let you know if you don't know. But I'm kind of curious. What does 1987 mean to a lot of Herd fans? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Georgia Southern, as mentioned, remaining undefeated in conference play as well. They're 3-0. They beat James Madison 28-14, and they have owned the Dukes. They got a 9-2 all-time series lead against them. South Alabama ended a 6-game losing streak in the battle for the bell. They beat Troy 25-9, alluding to the texter earlier that says that Neil Brown would be welcome back at Troy. Of course, you know Marshall beat Georgia State. Coastal Carolina lost to Louisiana 34-21, so they were the victims of Louisiana. And quarterback Ben Woolridge threw for 373 yards and 4 touchdowns. Old Dominion secured a 24-14 win over Texas State. That's their first 2-score victory since October of 2022. And as we have been talking about, Arkansas State defeats Southern Miss 44-28, and Will Hall, his tenure ends as the head coach of Southern Miss. So it was an interesting week, to say the least, in the Sun Belt. Now we've got some times and some adjustments here. First up, Louisiana and Texas State. That is going to be Tuesday, October 29th, 7:30 p.m. So here's what the broadcast schedules look like. Louisiana, Texas State, Tuesday, October 29th, 7 p.m. That's going to be on ESPN2. Georgia State at UConn. That's Friday, November 1st, 7 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. And the time is in now for ULM and Marshall. That game is set for 3:30 p.m. That's going to be an ESPN Plus. So ESPN Plus, the game is set 3:30 p.m. That means we go on the air 12:30 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. All right. Since nobody took me up on why 1987 is a good year and a bad year for me, and of course going back to ULM, best start since 1987. They're 5-1. Best start since 1987. Why is 1987 relevant to Herd fans? Well, it was the first meeting between Marshall and ULM. They were then Northeast Louisiana. So the matchup coming up will be the second meeting between these two. The first time, 1987, it was the Division I AA championship game. It was Marshall versus then Northeast Louisiana, and it was a thriller. Marshall got beat by then Northeast Louisiana 43-42. 1AA championship game. That was my first 1AA championship game. That was the first 1AA championship game for all of us. For those of you that were around, you remember it well. We're going to Pocatello. Remember that? That was a popular parody song going around at that time. And there's some other notables from that game. There's a lot to go over. They were then the Indians. Marshall took a 42-28 lead in the fourth quarter. And do you remember who the quarterback was in that game? I'll leave that up for a second. I want to see if anyone gets that. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'm testing you guys today. Got to be somebody out there. Come on, you know who this is. Yeah, I'm testing the older Herd fans now. Do you know who the quarterback was for the 1987 Northeast Louisiana Indians football team? Do you know? Nobody? Oh, I'm disappointed in you guys. I'm not getting anything on the text line. Nobody knows? It was Stan Humphries. Team's coach was Pat Collins, and they were led by Stan Humphries. He played in the National Football League for the Washington Redskins and San Diego Chargers. He was selected by the Redskins in the 6th round of the 1988 NFL Draft. Nobody got that? I'm doing a poor job here. I got to educate you guys a little bit better here. So this is an important game for some of us, apparently not all of us. This one's a big one. 43-42. This was Marshall's first shot at winning the national championship. It would take a few more tries, but the Herd would finally get it done in 1992. And that was the year that Willie Merrick kicked that field goal that will live in history for Herd fans. Michael Payton was the quarterback of that team. You know that one. Have we forgotten the 87 team so soon? I'm disappointed. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Absolutely disappointed here. So I know we got a couple weeks before football. You know, we're off this Saturday, and then we got to wait another. But still, all right, we'll give you reasons why this game matters. This isn't just another Sun Belt game. This one matters. I mean, this isn't like the Herd scheduling Catawba, 50 years later to get revenge on a bowl loss? It's not like that, but this was an important game. It's an important game because this is a team that could maybe derail the Herd a little bit on its hunt for an East Division title. Marshall's got to remain perfect. This is one of those teams that could derail the Herd. This is an important game. So we'll keep an eye on what they do, and we'll keep an eye on what the Herd does this week and next. But we're going to keep the text line open. We got some more to get into with you when we continue. Player of the Week awards coming the Herd's way. We'll tell you more about that when we continue on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118. At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kitty Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can easily find coverage options that fit your budget. If only it was that easy to name your baby.
How about Jaden?
Nope.
Okay. Michael?
Went to middle school with a glue-eating Michael.
Sebastian?
Dated one in college.
How about Damien?
Vampire name.
All right. Greg?
Not feeling it.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Jeffrey?
Oh, love that one.
Wait, really?
No.
Find coverage options that fit your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Countless victims of human trafficking walk among us, invisible until now. The Blue Campaign provides a unified voice for those who work to combat human trafficking. It's time to open our eyes. Learn what you can do by visiting dhs.gov.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Thanks for checking in on this Monday edition. Paul Swann, your host here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. While we're trying to figure out what happened to everyone's knowledge of the 1987 1AA championship game, let's add more to your database. We got some good news. And you know this was going to happen. So when A.J. Turner just did A.J. Turner things in that game against Georgia State, who tweeted out Player of the Week? Who tweeted that out? It was me. I mean, come on, that was easy. That was the most no thought process needed decision ever. So not only did A.J. Turner become the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Week, Rece Verhoff was named Special Teams Player of the Week. Turner, 207 all-purpose yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 receiving. You were there. You saw it. Rushed for a season-high 177 yards, had an impressive 88-yard touchdown run. Leads the Sun Belt with 717 rushing yards for the season. And then Verhoff, 2 field goals, including a long of 49. All 3 of his extra point attempts were good. He has made his last 8 field goals, including a career-long 51-yarder. So Verhoff is starting to heat up here. So what did we learn from that Georgia State game? 1, when A.J. Turner gets the ball, he can dominate. That's the first thing I thought we learned. I mean, it was an exceptional performance. Now, is he going to score 4 touchdowns every game? I don't know. I would be happy if he did. But in that instance, his 4-touchdown game and record-setting rushing yards highlight the importance of him to be involved in the offense. And nailing that 88-yarder, I mean, he was wide open. Nobody was touching him. Nobody had an angle on him. Nobody had a chance. So he's significant. Get him the ball when you can. And if they start keying on him, I think that's going to open up things for the passing attack. But he's got to be important. He's got to get touches. And then his just dependability. That's the other thing. I mean, sure, he's had some explosive plays, but he's been dependable. You can count on him. So he's got to see the ball. And then we just got to talk about Verhoff. I think he's getting better. Yeah, a 47-yarder. You had a 49-yarder. He's gotten better. He's becoming more consistent. I mean, remember when he hit that big one and everybody was mad because the team was cheering? They were cheering for him, not that they had to settle for a field goal. Seriously, let's rewind that a couple of weeks ago. People were mad that Coach Huff was cheering for him nailing a long field goal in that game against Georgia Southern. Coach Huff was cheering for his player, not that, okay, we settled. All right, field goal. I mean, he even said in his remarks, hey, I told him, look, I'm happy for you. That's great. I'm cheering for you. I'd rather have the touchdown. And he gets it. But still, you can't be upset with things like that. Nobody wants to settle for field goals. But if that kid's going to knock them out of the park, let's be happy for him. So I'm happy he got Player of the Week in special teams. And that A.J. Turner was a no-brainer for Player of the Week on the offensive side. I mean, no-brainer whatsoever. That was a great performance against Georgia State. And hopefully that's going to propel the Herd through the rest of the season. Now, again, Marshall's got to hope that some things happen. You're still in the hunt, but you're in the hunt. You're not in control of the East right now, but you're in the hunt. At least that can be said. To our text line, Paul, Huff is a good coach, good recruiter, good with the players. Weakness is game coaching. We don't know what decisions the OC makes. I think the air raid is a little new still for everyone involved. I'm not making excuses. I'm not paid significant chunks of money to know these things and to figure this stuff out. That's why you hire a good offensive coordinator, a good defensive coordinator. You hire the right position coaches. You hire the best people. You run an organization. The coach is running an organization. And I'm hoping that everyone is self-evaluating every week. Okay, what are we good at? What are we bad at? What are we strong with? What are we weak at? We all have to do it now and then. I have to do it now and then. In life, just in general, on air, in life, okay, I could have done that segment better. All right, I could have engaged those fans better. I could have produced that news packet. You know, I have to do it, and you have to do it in your job as well. And so I'm hoping that Marshall is doing that on a weekly basis with itself. And I think with this time off, we're truly going to see how well this team can self-evaluate, look at its tendencies, see where it's strong, see where it's weak, where is it having success, what's it need to get better at, what can it identify that other teams can maybe identify, and lock that down so it can't be taken advantage of. There are so many important things that come with this time off. For recruiting as well, you get an opportunity here to sort of reboot a little bit, add a little software patch. You're all set. You're all good for the run. And you get, I think, an important game coming up. To me, it's an important game. And ULM. A few years ago, you come into the Sun Belt, who would have thought, oh, Marshall's got to play ULM. Why is ULM significant? Well, for someone like myself who remembers the 1987 Division I AA championship game with ULM, which was then Northeast Louisiana, and a shootout, one of the best games I think I had seen in a long time up to that point. It goes down to the wire, and of course, it makes sort of a star Stan Humphries. Imagine what that would have looked like if Tony Peterson would have won that game. Instead, it was Stan Humphries. They were 13-2 that year, 6-0 in the Southland Conference. Southland Conference was pretty good. You had Sam Houston State in that league. You had North Texas State at that time. North Texas State was a participant in the 1AA playoffs that year. Anybody remember that? Seriously, anybody remember that? Marshall taking them on one year in the playoffs? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is our text line. Texter says, Paul, how does a coach not see Turner is amazing and get him 20 to 25 touches per game? I think we all see that he's amazing. I wonder if the game plan is a little too rigid, or teams have been pretty good at trying to take him away, and so Marshall's taking what the defense gives. I don't want to use coach speak there, but I mean, could it be a situation where Marshall's just not been able to work him in? And in this situation, they've done a better job. I think he's got to touch the ball. Absolutely. He's got to touch the ball. He's got to generate offense for this team. He's got to be a key component. I mean, you know he's coming. You can't avoid it. You circle him. Okay, A.J. Turner, we got to contend with that guy. On the other hand, okay, we got to make sure that we get A.J. in the best position possible. And if they're going to focus on A.J., well, we're going to make sure that they have something to focus on. At the same time, let's open that up for some other people. I mean, it works both ways. This is the most basic thing I could say. Again, I am not paid the significant amounts of money to coach a football team. But if I'm focusing on AJ, somebody else is open, right? If I'm off base on that, let me know. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. If I'm looking here, I'm looking at AJ. Okay, all eyes on AJ. Somebody's got an opening, right? Right? Sometimes there's an opening. Maybe there's a mismatch somewhere. Maybe if they're thinking run, okay, we got to stop the run. Okay, well, if they're going to try to stop the run, we're going to hurt you with the pass. But you got to isn't that the old saying? You got to establish the run to pass. You run the pass, you pass the run. I mean, these are simplistic terms here. I'm not trying to take anything away from coaches who do this for a living, but still, if you got to account for A.J. Turner, then somebody maybe is not getting an opportunity to be covered. Back to the text line. Tune in late today. Sounds like Huff's future is a topic. Well, we're talking about, just to recap, for those of you that just joined us, Southern Miss firing their head coach, Will Hall, after a 14-30 record. So I'm not necessarily a big fan of midseason changes. And, of course, just to recap, a lot of people have messaged in and said that maybe it's time for Huff to go. And at the same time, some are saying, hey, I wouldn't be upset if he's here, and I wouldn't be upset if he's gone. So it kind of is a topic based off of where Will Hall is right now, and he's looking for a new job. Texture also says, Huff took over for a team that had just made a championship game appearance. He announced that this wasn't a rebuild when he took over. He was correct. It was not a rebuild. So if he can't win a championship, then the problem points to him. Without a Sun Belt Conference title, Huff should be gone. Start over with a proven FCS head coach or someone needing to rebuild their resume, like Scott Frost. He didn't pan out at Nebraska, but did great things at G5 UCF at the time. All right, I appreciate that text. Texture says, Paul, Carl Foder and Tony Peterson were both good quarterbacks. There you go. Carl Foder. Texture says, I know what you're talking about, Paul. We beat North Texas 7-0 at Fairfield. Fight ensued after the game. Roland Crockett. Appreciate that text. Thank you. I was at that game. It's cold. It was absolutely cold that game. I was sitting in the end zone. I rather enjoyed that game. Texture says, Paul, let's please think about this. When was the last time you heard any player being accused of a crime? Huff is running a clean program in the age of NIL. Let's keep him. That is a very valid and sometimes maybe underrated point. The culture is good. You don't hear about problems with players. You're running a clean program. Players are graduating. Players are finding success academically and athletically. So I think that has to weigh in on how you view your coaching. But at the same time, Southern Miss firing Will Hall, now his record was substantially worse than Coach Huff's is. And he was somebody that was regarded as a person who built a good culture. The culture is good. I think the culture comes as, that's not like, oh, hey, he built a great culture. That's part of the job. So on one hand, yes, Coach Huff gets high marks for building the culture and recruiting. But that wasn't good enough for Southern Miss. And I'm not saying that I'm here rooting for Coach Huff to be let go. That's not the whole point of this conversation. It's just, I know a couple of weeks ago, a lot of people wanted him out of town, and now people have flipped. And I think he's doing a lot better at Marshall than Will Hall has or was at Southern Miss. But yes, we should give him all the due credit he deserves. He has turned the culture into something you can be pretty proud of. You can be proud of these young men. You can be proud of how they represent Marshall University. And I think that is valid completely. And I don't want Coach Huff's future to ride on one game. Marshall had a collapse in one game. Marshall could win out the rest of the year, maybe not claim an East Division title. How do you think of him then? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State, there is a place to shop at. The Huntington's Peddlers Mall is now open in the historic Central City District in Huntington. Over 200 vendors specializing in vintage antiques, home decor, furniture, collectibles, new mattresses, and everything in between. Peddlers Mall, located 800 14th Street West in Huntington. It's the place to go. Open 7 days a week. Visit anytime. Check out the website, peddlersmall.com, for more information. It's the Tri-State place to shop, Huntington's Peddlers Mall.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the Tri-State. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road.
Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Final segment for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It's been a good start to the week so far. We'll carry this over throughout the rest of the week. We'll keep the text line going, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Back to the text line. Texter says, Paul, George Chump was a good coach. Very good coach. One of my favorites. I don't want to rank him, but I did like George Chump. I like Dunham, one of my favorites. I was a fan, now, different reasons, Sonny Randall. I like Sonny Randall. And I think he had a tough job. But I like Sonny Randall. But George Chump, like George Chump as well. There's a good run of coaches that had a lot of success and building the program to the next level. Of course, Coach Pruitt, who doesn't love Coach Pruitt. So, yeah, there's a good run of coaches. Texter says, Paul, we need to keep Coach Huff. NIL and money in general has college sports in enough of a turmoil. We should not make drastic changes just now. Appreciate that text. So maybe it's not the coach that's the problem, and it's the system, and you need coaches who can figure out the system, work it out. Now, this is a funny thing because you could have all the NIL money in the world and just not have a good game plan. You could put together a really good team and not have the most NIL money. You could also put together a superstar team with all the NIL money in the world and just not be able to make anything happen. I think the standard has to be for Marshall is Sun Belt East Championship title game. Realistically, you can't win it every year. Obviously, you'd like to win it every year, but I think the Sun Belt East has got to be the goal. That's the minimum standard line for me. It's not winning seasons anymore. That's default. For me, to declare a season successful is not 500. A winning record. Winning record shows consistency. An East Division title makes it successful. A good year is a winning record. Hey, Marshall had a good year. A successful year, you won East Division title. An extraordinary year is you win the championship game. A phenomenal year, I'm amplifying here, is you win the championship game and you get to go to a major bowl. I'll leave it at that because getting into the playoff is going to be, you got to be perfect for that. You get an opportunity, but you got to be really perfect for that. But yes, I agree with your point there. Don't make drastic changes for the sake of making changes. And again, there's a lot of seasons still left to be played here. You got to see how it plays out. Georgia Southern took advantage of some miscues. Georgia Southern took advantage of Marshall. I mean, right now they're having a really good year, so you didn't lose to a bad team in the Sun Belt. You just lost a game which, if you would have won, you would have been in the driver's seat. And Marshall, of course, is going to have a tough test when it comes back after the off week against ULM, which to me, that is a meaningful game. They're going to be a contender in this league. And I know for a lot of fans, 1987 doesn't mean anything for me and for a lot of older fans that are maybe my age, a little younger, a little older. I mean, that was a really big deal. I mean, that was the first time in a long time that I felt football really come together because for a while, Marshall football, after the tragedy, the community came together, but then it started just, it was okay. I mean, glad we have it, glad it's going on, but it really just wasn't finding success. And then Stan Parrish found some success with the team and got him to a winning record. And then you got Chomp come in and start trying to bring this up to standard. Got him to the 1AA championship game. You have Jim Donnan come in, do what he did, turn the program around. You have Coach Pruitt come in, take that success, take it to the next level, shepherd this team into the move into 1A, into the Mid-American Conference. So there were some good times in those late 80s and those 90s. And, of course, I think the 87 team sometimes doesn't get enough love. Sure, they lost by 1 point, but that was a heck of a ULM team that year. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here. Good night.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.